Don't do this.
Greetings, friends! For several years now, I've been a homesteader, farmsteader, whatever you want to call me. And one of the challenges that we have faced, especially here recently, is storage space. Yes, we live here in a small house, a yurt, and there's challenges with here living in this small space, but that's not exactly what I'm talking about. One of the things that I started to understand here recently is why some of the homesteads in the past had several different storage buildings, because as you go through the progress of, or the process of your homestead journey, you start acquiring tools, and as you're producing things on the homestead, you start producing produce, and you need places to put these things. So as we have been blessed here recently with several things like tools and produce here on the homestead, we've had to find out where are we going to put these different things. And let me show you some of those challenges. A couple years ago, as I started transitioning away from my career in the fitness industry as a personal trainer and nutritional coach, and transitioned to that of being mostly a market gardener, I started producing more and more in our garden, and that's good. However, we only had one refrigerator that we were using at the time, and that was our personal family refrigerator, so we were trying to store our food in there on top of the food that we were producing in the garden for our customers. So it was like, oh, this is just not working at all. So we ended up constructing this, our first walk-in cooler. And one of the big mistakes that I made with this when we constructed it is the location. As you can see, it's getting a lot of sunlight right now. And pretty much at this time of year, when it's the hottest time of year, it basically gets sun all day and has a really tough time keeping things cool for the refrigeration temperature. So we ended up scrapping the idea of using it as a walk-in cooler. But it did work for the time that we were using it in the cooler months when we had the AC unit hooked up with the cool body. It was able to keep the temperatures down to the 30s and 40s. But when we really needed it this time of year, we're like, it's just not cutting it. The AC would freeze up and just wouldn't work. So we ended up constructing it and turning it into a storage room / grow room. So it's basically a storage room now for our surplus and bulk food items that doesn't need to be in refrigeration temperature. So that's what we're using it for right now. We also have items that we've canned in here, as well as things that we have purchased, canned food items. And we're storing in here things like our 30-day food supply from Ready Hour. And I'll talk more about that at the end of the video. So that's what we have in here. And this room, pretty much keep it in the 60s. Despite it being in the direct sun, I can keep it in the 60s. Can't keep it in the 30s and 40s, but I can keep this room constantly in the 60s. So that's good, and it works perfectly for what we have in here. So with not being able to use this as a refrigeration space, we had to use something else. So we got these two refrigerators to store our cooler items in. But the only challenge is we started to grow and produce more, and it was a challenge with having this as a limited space too. So then we got this over here, a commercial size walk-in cooler. The only challenge was we didn't have the AC units to go with it for this thing to work. So we were back over here using these, and I just had to do the best I could to keep produce going from the garden into the refrigerator, not staying in here long, and then back to the customers as we were trying to figure this out. So as we were trying to figure that out, finally this past February I was able to order AC units for this walk-in cooler. But you know what? We still don't have them yet because of all the restrictions and not being able to get parts and things. The company that we ordered them from wasn't able to get the parts. I haven't been able to get the parts that they need for the AC units. So we're still without storage space, bulk storage space, and we're waiting on those items to come. They're supposed to be here in September, but we'll have to just see. So in the meantime, we have some friends that have been very generous. They had found a restaurant that has closed down in their area, and they acquired a number of items that they have blessed us with. Let's just check them out. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
This is a lot of stuff here on this trailer, isn't it?
It is a lot of stuff.
Man.
I don't know exactly what we're gonna do with everything.
Some of you may remember a number of months ago, I did a video where we visited our friends Randy and Lindy in Indiana, where they had this beautiful greenhouse. Well, they're the ones that blessed us with all of this. Randy runs a demolition company where he's able to acquire a number of items from different projects that he does, and he knew of our predicament with the walk-in cooler, and he said, Mike, there's this restaurant that's closed down, I got all this equipment, what do you want? So I was like, man, that sounds good, as we went through the different items, and he just loaded up and gave us even more. So this is how we have all of this. Like Lacie said, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do with all of it, but we're going to put as much of it to use as possible. The wire shelves can definitely go in the walk-in cooler once we get it set up, but there's also refrigerators and freezers here that we can definitely utilize right away. But first we got to get all this unloaded. Ladies are doing a good job getting things unstrapped here. Well, I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down so I can get in here and give them a hand and we can get this thing unloaded. Si and Sailor, can you guys go ahead and carry the wire rack, start carrying them over there together and putting them near our walk-in cooler?
Yeah.
Hey Micah, can you see if you can roll that shelf over there? You can push it, show me that string. Will it roll for you? There we go. Each day, exercise comes in many forms here on the farm, and today is no different. But not only are we getting some exercise in, we're also getting continued lessons in working together. So building muscles and relationships as we get the job done. Good job. It was dark and pretty late in the evening when their son Matt and his wife dropped off the trailer full of these items. And today they're at a baby shower, so we didn't have a chance to unload any of it at night. So we're hoping that Lacie and I and the team here, our family, can get everything unloaded. So basically when they're done, they can just come pick up the trailer and head back to Indiana. Right now I'm thinking we're having to go quite a bit of ways to bring the items over here to where we want them. So I think Lacie's gonna go ahead and start at the skid steer and see if we can move the trailer with the skid steer to bring the items a little bit closer for us to unload. So we switched out the forks, attached the bucket to the skid steer so we could easily move the trailer. And as Lacie was moving into position to pick up the trailer and move it, bam!
Don't do this.
Well, it was working, and now it won't start back. It's just the way things go sometimes. Oh man. So Lacie just briefly cut it off so she could talk to me and we could hear each other and just kind of game plan. And then as soon as she went to start it back up, it just won't start back on. So that's a problem, because we're gonna at least need to move this, even if he does come later on to come pick up the trailer. But it'd be nice to go ahead and get the stuff unloaded. Oh. Did you break the skid steer where it won't start back?
No.
You sure? I know you. Maybe we should just all pray about it together and then just give a little bit of time and see if it'll start back. What do you think about that?
Sounds like a good idea because I've already been praying about it.
So we prayed about the skid steer starting up again and that we could get the trailer unloaded so we wouldn't hinder our friends from taking the trailer back in a timely manner. And then after we prayed, we tried to start up the skid steer once again. But it wouldn't start. So we waited a few hours and with Lacey's brother Hazen, we tried to start it up again. And it almost started up. So he tried to diagnose it by looking at a number of things and said, we'll come back to it in the morning. So this morning, we tried to start up the skid steer once again. And it wouldn't start. So the obvious answer was, we're not going to be using the skid steer for this job. However, that doesn't mean that the job still can't be done. We just need to find out what plan B is. But we are in a crunch because they're on their way to pick up the trailer really soon. So we need to make something happen because we're in a bind. But one of the things that I have learned and I try to instill in our kids is don't focus on what you can't do, focus on what you can do. So I got to work unloading the trailer by hand.
Then the heavy part this way.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my foot at the wheel, Mike.
All right.
And lean it down. Ready?
Going towards yes,
Towards
right.
yes, correct.
Yep. Okay, watch it with the wheel.
Yeah, it might start rolling here in a second.
Watch it with the wheel. Watch it with the wheel.
Sit back to it.
Okay, my foot's stuck. There we go.
Wait.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Are you okay, Jess?
Yeah, but we're supposed to turn the opposite side, so that's okay.
Thankfully, when I got to the heavier items, I got a few extra helping hands.
Okay.
Okay. I'm fine too.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Now push it up.
Yeah, we're with.
Yeah.
There we go.
We all right?
Yeah, I'm ready. And after we got everything unloaded, I really don't know what I was thinking, but I decided to go ahead and transport the items all the way over to where we wanted them. I guess I needed an extra workout.
Keep coming. All right.
I think I got it. Hold on one second.
All right.
My shirt's getting cold. All right, let's see. Yep.
Okay, I can't see anything. I'm just
Yeah,
muscle.
I'll drive. You just keep pushing
Okay.
it a little bit. Yep. Stop here.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Go back. Okay, I'm holding. Come on back.
Whew. This is one of those, once again, farm fit real life workouts. That one burned a little bit. Oh, and I got cut too. Man, it's one of those things when you got the adrenaline going, you realize you're getting hurt. So after some grit, teamwork, and muscle, we were able to get the trailer unloaded. However, we still had a big problem. The skid steer was still in the way of being able to take the trailer and haul it off. So thankfully, Hazen had a neat idea and a steal of a deal that he found on a tow strap that he was able to strap around the skid steer, attach it to the truck, and pull the skid steer off. And I was doubtful, like, is this gonna work? And then shortly after we moved the skid steer, bam, they were there ready to pick up the trailer. So we were able to get the job done just in time. Whew. You think he's done that before? And why did we do all of that? Well, as I said at the start of the video, so that way we could have better food storage here on our homestead. And guys, I hate to be negative, but the way the country and our food system is going, it's pretty alarming. So whether you're homesteading or not, I encourage you all to do something to prepare for at least a short time of emergency to make sure you have food and water that you need for you and for your family. I also mentioned earlier in this video about the 30-day food supply that I had in our storage room there. Well, you can also get that because My Patriot Supply has 25% off now their emergency food kit. So you can check out the link for that in the show notes below. Well, I got a lot more work to do to get all of that we have situated and organized and plugged up and ready to use in some way. So see you next time.